Donald Trump, while we were sleeping, has apparently started sending battleships to Iran. This is not over. You don't send ships to another country unless you're planning to do something at some point in time. Let's go ahead and get into this video clip here, ladies and gents. A lot of people haven't been paying attention.
Will Donald Trump attack Iran or won't he? That has been the big question looming here in the Middle East ever since these deadly demonstrations erupted in Iran nearly a month ago. Donald Trump had been threatening military action against Iran last week, promising protesters rallying against the Islamic regime that help was on its way. But the president then appeared to back away from launching an attack, saying that he'd received assurances Iran had called off the planned executions of more than 800 protesters that its security forces had arrested.
So that's the catch, right? Donald Trump decided to back away and said, you know what, we're not going to strike Iran. And of course, Israel wasn't happy with that. And so people said, okay, nothing's going to happen here. But I said, well, not at this time, but just wait for it, because when you least expect it, Donald Trump could escalate this in further ways. I do consider this to be an escalation. You don't send warships to another country, U.S. warships to another country, unless you're trying to escalate. You're trying to send a message, right? So they're provoking Iran in this sense, or they're just ready for an all-out scale attack. So they're not sending them there for no reason. They're sending them there for a reason. And I want you to imagine something for just a second. Like, just imagine if we had warships from France or Russia or China completely surrounding the United States of America. How would you feel at that point in time? I would imagine you would not feel comfortable, probably would not feel too safe either. And you also may feel as though this is a threat that they're trying to send our way. So try to put yourself in their shoes at this point in time.
Leaders from across the Middle East have also been in Trump's ear, including his close ally, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who had warned that attacking Iran could lead to a broader conflict in the region. But now Donald Trump is continuing his threats of military action, sending warships to the region. A US aircraft carrier and several missile-firing destroyers are due to arrive in the Middle East in the coming days.
Missile firing destroyers are also arriving there. So it's not even just the ships. So there you go.
There are also reports that the US is sending fighter jets. Donald Trump says that this large military force is on its way just in case.
We're watching Iran. We're watching Iran. We have a lot of ships going that direction just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction. And we'll see what happens. It's a big force. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely.
There's still.
So that's a trick when he says, well, we don't want to see anything happen. But Donald Trump knows, just like anyone else in government or military, that when you send something like that to another country, you're provoking something, right? So this whole I hope nothing happens when you're sending military ships, when you're sending missile fire destroyers, as she said, it's BS. So once again, you see the U.S. government antagonizing. You see the U.S. government on the offensive. Imagine if Iran was sending ships to the United States, to our waters, to sit around the border of the U.S. to watch us. And imagine if the prime minister of Iran said, well, I hope nothing happens, but we're just going to wait and see. How would you feel? So again, put yourself in their shoes.
A lot of uncertainty about what will happen next in the Middle East. We know that Donald Trump often relies on unpredictability to keep his opponents guessing. Iran is still under a very strict internet communications blackout, making it really hard to get information on the ground. Doctors operating inside Iran have put the death toll of protesters that have been killed over the last month at 16,500 people.
Interesting how that number continues to increase, right? So, and I've heard those numbers are incorrect. Now, again, we have to go into a little bit more detail here to show you as well, of course, how we got here. The Guardian also is reporting on this. I do feel like because of everything else that's happening right now, this story isn't getting a lot of attention. And I will also add to you, pay attention to what's happening in Greenland as well, because last night, while many were sleeping, Greenland lost power. All of their power went out. Something similar that happened to Venezuela before the U.S. invaded there. Trump says the U.S. Armada is heading to the Middle East as Iran death toll put above 5,000. See how the number keeps changing? Let's go ahead and get into it here. You can see here's one of the ships here. Again, like it's an obvious message from the United States. Donald Trump has said an American armada is headed towards the Middle East and that the U.S. is monitoring Iran closely as activists put the death toll from Tehran's crackdown on protesters at over 5,002. That number just continues to change. The aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, and several guided missile destroyers are due to arrive in the Middle East in the coming days. Additional air defense systems are being deployed, most likely around U.S. and Israeli air bases. So there you go. The UK said it would send RAF Eurofighter Typhoon jets from 12 Squadron to Qatar. This is at Doha's request. So remember what I said about Qatar, and I told you it's just a U.S. military outpost, but people keep saying, oh my God, people might be taking money from Qatar. That's really what Qatar is. Iran will treat any attack as an all-out war against us, and we will respond in the hardest way possible, said a senior Iranian official speaking on this condition. Goes on to say here, President Trump pulled back from attacking Iran 2 weeks ago, despite promising help was on its way, largely because he felt he had been given no military option that would prove decisive in securing regime change in Iran. He was also urged to hold back on the Gulf states. So you can see the picture here. It says January 18th, aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln reportedly transitioned westbound through the Strait of Malacca. Right about here. Let me see if there was another. I thought there was another picture. This one I wanted to show you as well. So this is what we're looking at. The U.S. has about 40,000 troops stationed in the Middle East. Everybody look at this map. So here's Iran. So the U.S. has troops stationed in Iraq, Syria, Jordan. Let's get closer to Iran here. Kuwait, of course, Qatar, the UAE, all surrounding Iran. And this is what I said before about Qatar. It's just a U.S. military outpost. Here is the U.S. Central Command Forward Headquarters right there in Qatar. It's a very tiny place, but that's what you need to know about it. So they're all surrounding Iran. But then later on, the U.S. government will be the one to say, oh my God, how dare Iran choose not to get rid of their nuclear power, their nuclear weapons, when you have an Israel, obviously, in this area that has nuclear weapons. And the reality is you have all these U.S. military bases surrounding Iran. Now, I'm 100% against nuclear weapons. I don't think any country should have nuclear weapons, but they do. And if you're Iran and you have Israel in your vicinity that has nuclear weapons and they want to attack you and have been attacking you, and you have U.S. military bases all surrounding you, what would you expect them to do? Would you expect them to just get rid of everything and say, okay, have at it, so they can just come in and destroy and they have no way of fighting back? This is where we're at now. So you have these ships that are being deployed to Iran, and I'm here to tell you this won't end well. You don't send them there unless you're planning to do something. So everyone pay attention to this, because with everything happening, especially right now in the U.S. and everything happening with whether it's Venezuela and Greenland, there's so much chaos that is happening right now under this administration. It can become very easy to forget about certain things. And I feel like just when we're not paying attention, something like this would happen. So the United States is the one that is escalating here right now. They're the ones that are escalating. So everyone pay attention. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.